Hello, parents and students. I appreciate your flexibility as I did move this event virtual. I'm hopeful that this will make it possible for you to reference this presentation throughout your junior year, as well as going into your senior year, as a lot of the information I'm going to cover will be relevant for both years. So as I go through, please know that I do have IGPs coming up with your student to go over how all of this translates to your student, but I am going to cover just general topics about senior year. Every student has plans, has options, so I will cover things that are relevant for students going military, 4-year college, 2-year college, straight to the workforce. All of that should be covered. In the meantime, if you have immediate questions, please do reach out to me, either via email or give me a call. I will start IGPs on Monday, November 14th. So it will make my availability a little more limited as far as phone calls, but I'm glad to always give you a call back as soon as possible. So as I go through, I'm hopeful you'll learn something and you can reference this later. Real fast, who we are. So this is the counseling department this year. Myself, I'm the 9th and 12th grade counselor. Ms. Whelan is the 10th and 11th, and then Ms. Hammett is the guidance secretary as well as attendance. So our contact information is on there. I meet with all of the juniors in preparation for senior year. So we will sit down and make sure that you have all of your credits, and that way I can kind of go over all of the information prior to starting your senior year. So hopefully there's not surprises later on. Things I plan on covering tonight: promotion and graduation requirements, choosing your senior classes and IGPs, Google Classroom. A lot of y'all have already been in there, and I appreciate the response from many of the students. College application timeline, 2-year versus community, which are kind of interchangeable, and versus 4-year college, holistic admissions post-COVID. So COVID changed a lot of things, and I kind of want to touch on what that means for college admissions. I'm also going to go over the school profile, which is relevant to your student no matter what their plan is, as well as the SAT versus the ACT, how that's changing, because a lot of colleges are test optional, and also the SAT is going digital in 2024. So we'll talk about that. College visits, exam exemption, the impact of social media, as well as other things to expect going into your senior year. Promotion requirements and graduation requirements. They vary a little bit. So if your student, they do not vary. Your student has to have 17 total credits, 3 in English and 3 in math, in order to be promoted to senior. If your student is lacking any of those credits and does not complete summer school, then they will not be listed as a senior. They'll be listed as a graduating junior, and that will impact some of their senior privileges. So I'm hopeful all of your students will have 17 total credits, 3 in English and 3 in math. The other thing listed on here, which does vary, are the difference between the graduation requirements and the South Carolina 4-year public college requirements. You can kind of read through them. I will say the main differences is that there is a year of math beyond Algebra 2 required for 4-year colleges, and also 3 lab sciences have to be earned, which would be biology, chemistry, and another upper level science. Foreign language is not required for graduation, but it is required for college purposes. And I will tell you, 3 years are preferred for College of Charleston and Clemson. Clemson changes their mind every year. This year we were told that it's dependent on what major they declare when they apply to Clemson. So if your student has any ambition to go to Clemson, I would recommend taking 3 years. If it's not possible, then that's a different situation, but it's just something that would take that worry away. You also need a credit in fine arts in order to go to a South Carolina 4-year college. And the other thing that relates to just graduation requirements is PE or JROTC. Some students transfer to us with an ROTC credit. However, you have to have health as a component, and that is not a part of ROTC. So if your student has only taken ROTC at another school, they will either have to take health online over the summer, or they will have to take a PE credit their senior year. Also, to go ahead and kind of warn some of y'all, one thing that has changed is the computer science credit that's eligible for graduation requirement. Some of you came to me having completed keyboarding and computer apps, and the state has no longer grandfathered y'all in, so keyboarding and computer apps does not count as a graduation requirement for computer science. But we'll go through that in your individual meeting and make sure you have the appropriate course, like a web page design or IT fundamentals or fundamentals of computers, to fulfill that graduation requirement. Again, all will be covered during your student's individual plan, but this just gives you an overview of the expectations and the requirements. When we choose classes, I understand that many of you have worked hard and you look to senior year as a break, and I understand that you probably have done all of those things. But no matter your next step after high school, it's not easier. So there's importance to maintaining rigor. So if you only need one credit, I do not advise you take 4 easiest classes you can. I want you to still be challenged. Colleges look at what you're taking your senior year, and they don't want you to only focus on taking the easy way out. If you choose to take the easy way out, understand you're going to have to highlight other things that you do, be it community service or volunteering, to offset the lack of rigor you have in your senior year. But many colleges now, especially with holistic admissions, are looking at the rigor of your senior year. So again, when we do your individual meeting, we'll choose classes, and I'll kind of direct you and help you decide what the best path is for you. For the senior year IGP, we will start doing class selection on November 14th. The link was emailed to the parents. I also just posted it this morning, November 10th, in the Google Classroom. Some of y'all have been scheduling. We will not be doing it the way we did last year, where you walk out with the actual order of your classes. We will be doing request. That is to ensure that we have the master schedule completed and in the best way for your student going into their senior year. So I will ask you to pick alternate electives. So if you only need 4 classes, I may get you to pick 6, but we'll rank them. So that way I can better understand what your ideal schedule will be. For the most part, I know many of you want to be here period 1 through 4 and then done. So kind of be thinking about the electives that we offer, what you may want to take, what relates to what you're thinking about doing in the future, and we'll kind of go through that. We do have dual enrollment as well, so if that's something you're interested in and have never participated in, we will talk about the opportunities there and if you're eligible. Just go ahead and start thinking ahead. Many of you, I'm excited for the junior class, have already joined the Google Classroom for the class of 2024. Parents, you're encouraged to view the page with the student access. The parent access is very limited based on how I post in there. I will email parents all of the updates as well, so please make sure that your email address is correct. If you haven't received anything from me as a junior parent this year, then we probably have the wrong email address. So please have your student reach out. I will also check it during the IGP if you're not getting anything, so that way we can make sure it's all right. For their senior year, Google Classroom is where I post the scholarships, senior project updates, senior events, and general information. It's imperative that your student get used to checking that Google Classroom. It is informative. I don't just post in there for the heck of posting. It is stuff that I want your student to know. I will not email you a lot, students and parents, but when I do, please try to read it. I try not to overwhelm your inbox. I know what that's like, but I do try to email out scholarship opportunities if your student's not applying, or just to let you know what's out there. Beyond posting it in the Google Classroom, I also post it on the guidance website, and I can link that up for y'all as well during your IGP. So students, just be diligent about checking your email in the Google Classroom. It is absolutely key when you work through your senior year. So just a brief kind of overview. College applications, senior year happens so fast. So summer of 2023, you really should be making a list of the colleges to which you would like to apply and go on any college visits if possible. Some of them you can look online and kind of get an overview of what the college has to offer. Some of them you may want to travel as a family and go visit. That's completely up to you. But you need to be kind of finalizing that list of where you want to apply even prior to summer. So really spring of 2023, you can start doing that. August of 2023 is when most of the applications open. I will not know every application deadline. So you need to have that list and their deadline so that way you know when it opens and when to apply. So you're going to want to prioritize based on college. For instance, Clemson does their housing based on when your application was received. So you're going to want to get that application early if that's where you hope to attend. Each school has a different deadline, so just make sure you're aware of those and have those in your calendar. October of 2023, I typically tell all of the students to have all of your applications in by Halloween. And that is because most schools have an in-house merit scholarship deadline of December 1. So that gives time for all of your supplemental information, be it a letter of recommendation, a transcript, any of that to arrive prior to that deadline. Holidays, y'all, it's like a hurry up and wait. So if you applied early action, which is not a binding decision, it just means you find out sooner, then you will find that out typically right around the holidays. So hopefully it's a great time for you. If you apply regular decision, those decisions normally don't come until like February. So you have a little bit longer to wait. Parents, I know that you love your student and you are here to help them, and I encourage you to help them, but please do not fill out your students' college applications. There's a huge learning process for your student during this time, and the colleges can honestly tell when the student isn't filling them out. So if you're trusting your student to go away to college and leave your home, then please trust them to do these applications. Students, if you need help, by all means, lean on your parents, lean on me, who will gladly help you. But it's not something that your parents should be doing exclusively on their own. It's important for you to know what the application process looks like, so that way you're better informed. With the holistic admissions and what colleges want, it is like one of my least favorite things that they changed because of COVID. So because of COVID and colleges going test optional, many colleges would just go, well, we're looking at the college holistically. But what does that mean? So each college kind of answers that differently. So I kind of compiled some different information based on articles I've read and colleges to which I've spoken. So they're looking across a candidate's attributes and components of their application to determine how they would contribute to campus community. So that's why I constantly tell y'all to get involved, to volunteer, to have an academic resume, to have those things listed out so colleges can look at you beyond your transcript. I can look at your transcript and tell you that you're, a good student, that your GPA is high. Well, they can do that too. But they need to know what sets you apart from every other student that's transcript is very similar to yours. So no longer are you being admitted on a single criterion. It's just not like test scores and GPA. It's everything. So you may provide your SAT and ACT score, but they're also going to look at if you've been involved in the community, what you've done to better yourself. Have you worked? Have you thought outside of the box during COVID? Have you been a leader within clubs? Colleges don't want you to be a member of every club. They want you to be a leader within a few. So it's important that you have that information listed out for people writing letters of recommendation, for you as you work on your college admissions applications. It's important for all of that to be relevant and apparent to the college and those people who are helping you to get into the college. So that's kind of what they're looking at in some ways, but it does continue. So they want you to follow your interest, be creative and use your resources to be involved in the community. It can be through an online setting. So COVID may have shut down your ability to volunteer as much, but maybe there's ways that you use social media to gain awareness of an event or to raise money for an event. Maybe you did that birthday fundraiser that they can do. So just start thinking about things that you have done or plan to do more. Colleges now, I'll talk on it more later, they're looking at social media. So they're not only looking at you, but they're looking at your involvement with their page. Now, don't be extra. Like, y'all know what I mean. But do follow the colleges that you're interested in and kind of get to know them better, because that will matter in the future. Get to know your teachers and counselors. You'll need letters of recommendation, so go ahead and talk to your favorite teacher about writing one, but be prepared to provide them with a list of things that you have done. Do not ask a teacher or me for a letter of recommendation and give us like a day to get it done. That's not fair. You have to give us at least, honestly, 2 weeks would be the minimum, I would say. A lot of times what I will tell you to do is get a semi-generic letter of recommendation that you can use to colleges, to scholarships, just across the board, so that way teachers aren't having to write them over and over and over again. Become a stellar communicator. Y'all, your English teachers are not lying. You have got to be able to communicate effectively and succinctly. So when you're writing the essays, vary the essays, but make sure that they reveal your hopes, your values, your sense of community, and that's what they're looking for post-pandemic. How has it changed you? How has it made you think outside of the box? How have you now changed your way of thinking because of what we have been through? So that's just some ideas. Make sure your personal statements shine. Like, don't assume your admittance based only on statistics. Get yourself out there. If there's a school that maybe you don't meet the GPA requirements, but you feel like you'd be a good fit, let's apply. Let's figure out how we can make you stand out in that application process. So the do's and don'ts of holistic admissions, they're listed there. Do get involved in activities that spark your interest. Take advantage of your rigorous curricular opportunities. Again, I cannot stress enough that they do look at the classes you're taking your senior year. I'm not telling you to take 4 dual enrollment classes if you know that that is too much for you to handle. I still need you to do well in the courses you choose, but I don't need you to take 4 electives that don't benefit you in terms of your major or in terms of what interests you, or at least open your eyes to opportunities. So if you've completed your 3 lab sciences that you need for college, but there's another one you're interested in, let's take that course. So be thinking about that in terms of what's relevant to you and what works for your schedule. Upload all of the relevant materials in your applicant portal. Y'all will email me extensively about this. If they ask for it, they want it. So if it says they want an essay, write the essay. If they want a personal statement, write the personal statement. If there's an interview opportunity offered, take it. But the less that you follow the directions, the less likely you are to get in. That's the other thing I want to stress to y'all. Read the directions. Don't come to me and ask me to read them with you. Read them for yourself, and if you need help, I will gladly help you. Again, write essays that are targeted, authentic, and sincere. Don't give them a rote generic essay over whatever you feel like is important. Make it shine. College admissions is marketing. So if you can market yourself in a way that makes you stand apart from the rest of your peers, let's do that. That's how you have to think. See your teachers regularly for relevant conversations. Don't annoy them, but don't ask a teacher to write you a letter of recommendation and you haven't done their homework for them for 1.5 years or 2 years. Like, make sure that you're connecting with your teachers in a relevant and important way so they can assist you when it comes to college admissions. Your English teachers are not giving you essays to write just because they enjoy grading them. It's because it's relevant to what you're about to do. So when you write that college essay, ask for help. Ask your parents to edit it. Make sure that you're doing all you can so you don't have the traditional errors in essays. Take your time and don't rush the college admission process. Again, use social media proactively, including their posts and their websites. So go to their websites, get to know the college, include some of their information that's relevant to you and your likes in your essay or in your personal statement so they see how you see yourself fitting in. Now we're going to cover the don'ts. Do not select activities that you think look good for college. If you're not interested in it, that will shine through. So make sure that it's something that you plan on continuing. Don't just think that because you want to go to this college, you're going to join this club, but then let everything else die once you get there. Stay relevant. Don't overload on AP or dual enrollment just to do so. Your senior year grades may not be transcribed when you apply, but they're transcribed at the end. So your junior year grades are what get you into college, but your senior year grades are what make sure that you're able to attend. I have had students whose admissions have been revoked based on how poorly they did their senior year, and I don't want that to be you. So be cognizant when you choose classes that you're not overwhelming yourself, but also that you're not taking the quote-unquote easy way out. If permitted, a lot of our local colleges don't do this, but don't decline a required alumni interview. Have that opportunity. Again, it's all marketing. So market yourself in a positive light so colleges want you to be a part of their community. Don't waste a chance for admissions to see another side of you. It annoys me to no end when we have EdOps, which is the college fair. Y'all attended this year and you will attend next year, and none of y'all talk to the college admissions. It is your chance to put your face with a name so that way when your application comes through, that admissions representative may be like, yes, I remember meeting them. They were great. This is exactly what stuck with me. So have a way for you to shine because there's different facets to you other than just your grades, and colleges know that. Don't over-repurpose an essay for college X for college Y. If they're completely different in what they offer and what you're wanting to do at that college, don't keep using the same essay. There are times where you can repurpose essays, absolutely. But don't make it a crutch on which you lean because colleges can also tell that. Another thing in regards to Clemson, they hate it when students put in there that they bleed purple and orange. Every college knows you're writing the essay because you want to go there. They're not doubting your desire to go to that college. They want to know why. Why should they let you in over every student that may look exactly the same on paper? So that's what the essay's for. Don't avoid seeking input or extra help. Approach a teacher, ask for help, ask me, ask anybody, a community member, somebody you trust that can help you with this whole process. And don't share anything unprofessional or comment unnecessarily. So if you're sharing social media posts, know they're looking. Also know that what you comment on their post, they're going to take to light. So if it's something that you posted negatively about years ago, they're going to be able to find that. So be aware that your words that you speak online and in person matter to colleges and in college admissions. So there's difference, 2-year college, kind of interchangeable with community college at times, 4-year college, and a gap year. Gap years have become quite popular since COVID. Students I'm seeing are finding more and more ways, like they're not quite sure what they want to do. So why would they pay for college? Why not just take a gap year, earn money, and then go to college? I can't tell you what's right for you. I can tell you that typically it is harder to go back to college if you don't go directly from high school. That may not be true for you. I cannot answer that. But if you take a gap year and you're a bum, it's useless. So if you're not taking that gap year to explore opportunities, majors, careers, whatever it is, then it's useless. So don't take a gap year if it's not going to be beneficial to you. The other thing to know in relation to scholarships, your state-funded scholarships, which I'll go over later, your Life, Hope, Palmetto Fellows, all of those start the first time you take a college class. So you get 4 years of eligibility for Life, let's say. If you take one college class during your gap year, just to see how you feel about it, that's a year of your scholarship eligibility as far as the state-funded scholarships are concerned. So be cognizant of that so you aren't using that timeline ineffectively, because nothing is better than free college. So we want to try to get you as much money to cover college, but just don't start taking classes preemptively for nothing. So a 4-year college is typically where you go to get a bachelor's degree, and it offers a wider variety of courses and majors. There are different kinds of 4-year colleges. There's liberal arts colleges that kind of are a little more open and you can learn a little bit about a lot of different topics. There's some colleges that are degree specific and they're known for that. Some of them make you declare a major when you apply. Some of them are much more fluid in their admissions. So be looking at the college and what they expect in their admissions process so that way you're better prepared when it comes time to apply. 2-year college, they offer a certificate or an associate's. It's a lot of times completed faster and sometimes much more affordable. I know this year, Aiken Tech was free for everybody. Aiken Tech is also typically free if you have a 3.0 or higher when you graduate based on the college classes in which you enroll when you attend there. So again, it's just a matter of what you are looking for. It is not one size fits all. Not listed on here, but also an opportunity is military. I have students who enter the military. If that's what you want to do, we've got to take the ASVAB. We've got to start looking at what branch. You need to talk to recruiters. We have recruiters here on campus quite frequently. And if there's one that you don't see, we can help you get in touch with that person. But again, you can't try the military. It's legit. Once you commit, you're committed. So make sure it's a thoughtful decision no matter which route you choose, because it's your life. So if you're not sure of what you want to do, take the time now to start exploring. There are websites we can give you to do career exploration. Have conversations with people around you. Nothing's better than talking to teachers, to friends, and find out what made you do this. What did you do before this? What did you think you wanted to do? So everybody has a story. So it's okay to ask for their story. That's exactly part of learning. The school profile is relevant. It is posted online. Most people have no clue that we even have one. So I wanted to take the time to educate you about what it is. I update it every year. It goes to every college with every application that you do. I submit it behind the scenes. So it's how colleges know what opportunities were available to you. One of the questions that I get is, we only offer so many AP classes, but we have more dual enrollment. Well, what about the student who took 17 AP classes and we didn't have that opportunity? Well, this gives colleges an idea to know how many opportunities there were and how many you took advantage of. So you may have to answer these questions, but this is where you find all that information. And when I tell you that scholarships count and you're in competition with last year's class, they do. That all goes on the profile. So I try to tell them where all of our students are as far as military, 4-year college, 2-year college, working. There's options there. I have to report all of that information to the state, and then I put it on the school profile so colleges can kind of see what our school typically looks like as far as post-secondary plans. So it gives them an understanding of what opportunities you have and what you were able to take advantage of. Sometimes if you have extenuating circumstances, that may require me to write a little bit more of a narrative regarding why things weren't able to be taken for you. Sometimes with a transfer student, it's a matter of explaining that to a college. That's something that this profile does, or is something that I submit behind the scenes that you may not necessarily know that I do, but that's perfect for you to know now that this follows. So every opportunity that you didn't take advantage of, the colleges are able to see that as well. Okay, y'all, SAT versus ACT. Y'all ask a lot of questions about this, and that's perfectly fine. I'm going to try to go over some things. I can't tell you which one is better for you. My generic answer is going to be take both of them, see how you do, and then I can better direct you. If you've taken the PSAT, that gives me an idea of how you will do on the SAT, and I can go over that with you during your IGP. The SAT and the ACT cover essentially the same idea of things. ACT does have a writing portion. It is optional. It is not required by any college that I'm aware of. Now, do know, neither one of these is required for graduation. So if you don't want to go to a 4-year school or 2-year school, if you just want to go to work, if you want to go to the military, you do not have to take these tests. Most colleges accept either the SAT or the ACT. Some colleges are test optional. So it just depends on the school. So when you're making those lists of schools to which you want to apply, write down what they are for this year and what they anticipate being for next year. I don't know. Not many colleges have told me what they're going to be. So it's important that you do your research and that you sign up for the test that's most relevant. I will tell you, I want you to take most of you, I want you to take this spring of your junior year. So if you're not signed up to take one or both of them, go ahead and start looking at the dates and deadlines. I actually have that on the next slide so you can see it. I will tell you, you need certain scores for the state-funded scholarships, and I will go over those later. You have through the June administration of your senior year, so for y'all that's 2024, to get the scores required for the scholarship. In the spring of 2024, the SAT is going digital. I have not seen what that looks like. I've only done some research, but I will tell you that what they are doing is they're allowing the realignment of the test to be a more modern educational value test. So there were adjustments made to the length of the passages. So the passages will be from 25 to 250 words and only one question associated with each passage. This is just for the SAT, and it is just in spring of 2024. It's a multi-stage adaptive test. So what that means is there's going to be 2 modules, and the first module will present content and questions that span the difficulty spectrum. So a little bit of everything. Based on how you do on that first module, that then routes you to the second module featuring questions that are on average easier or tougher than the first module. So essentially it adjusts to meet you where you are at your level. So prior to spring of 2024, I would try to get the test scores that you need because that's a lot of unknown going into it. And so I wouldn't try to put too much pressure on yourself in the spring to try and get those scores with the SAT because it's just going to be a new test. By all means, though, if you want to try it, I'm not here to tell you not to. But for college admissions, you are going to need those scores earlier in the year. So that's why spring of your junior year, it's important that you go ahead and start taking those tests so you can have the scores necessary for admissions. So prior to spring 2024, the ACT versus the SAT, I'm kind of going to break it down. The ACT English section asks questions about the passage as a whole, unlike the SAT writing section. Instead of focusing only on bits of the passage with correlating questions, students will also need to prepare for questions that ask about the author's purpose, requiring students to keep track of main ideas as they work through the passage. So they're a little different. The ACT has the writing optional part. SAT has combined reading, writing, and language into their own section. So there's a little more thoughtful process for the SAT in regards to that. Math is always the one that y'all ask me questions about because y'all tend to tell me that the ACT is for people who think this way and the SAT is for people who think that way. I can't tell you how you're going to do on either of them until you take them. So just give me that baseline score. But the ACT math section generally contains a larger number of geometry questions and is more calculation-based with very little data analysis. So the ACT does not have a optional, a calculator section that you cannot use. That's confusing. The SAT has a section where you cannot use a calculator. You can use your calculator for all math sections on the ACT. The SAT math sections are more reasoning-based and contain fewer geometry questions, but more data analysis than the ACT math. Again, the ACT math allows a calculator on all sections. SAT does not. ACT does have a science section, but don't let the science section scare you. You won't be required to be a science expert. It's just part of the test that will examine your ability to problem solve and interpret data rather than retain extensive knowledge about a particular science subject. So they're very different but similar. It's not one size fits all. Again, this is prior to spring of 2024, so this is the test that you will be taking for college admissions. The ACT test consists of about 61 more questions than the SAT test, but they're similarly timed. So the ACT is faster paced in that regard. You have more questions in about the same amount of time, so you're having to work a little bit faster. But again, it is going to be specific to your mood that day, where you're testing, how you've prepared, all of that plays into it. So my recommendation will always be take both tests, see how you do, and I can better direct you. If you are applying to a college that does not accept one or the other, then clearly do that. But I do think it's important that you get exposure. I will tell you, it's not on the slide, you will take some version of the Work Keys WIN test. It's essentially a career readiness test. Mr. Bramhall will talk to you more about it. It matters. It matters for all of you, whether or not you're going to college or you're going to the workforce. It all is relevant because it feeds your ability to get a job. Many of our corporations around town do make you take the test prior to even be employed. So do your best on the opportunity that we offer you here, so maybe you don't have to take it later, because you will find that you will request your scores from me when it comes to job application time. And I'm glad to provide them, but I want you to go ahead and take advantage of the opportunity you're given here. So again, this is a lot of information about the differences between the two tests. Do your own research, look at what you find, and then make a decision based on what you think is best for you. But if possible, please do take both, so I have a better idea of where to spend your time. This is just a link of where to register and the remaining test dates for the 2022-2023 school year, so that way you can kind of see. I cannot register you for these tests. I cannot tell you your login information if you forget it. I cannot do anything except tell you where to go and when the test is offered. I will tell you, I do not know the locations of where the test is going to be on what day. We will offer the SAT here in May, but that's the only time we're going to offer it here. So if you want to take these tests, go ahead and look at the registration deadlines, make an account and register. Typically, I do want you to at least be partially through Algebra 2. So if you've completed Algebra 2, go for it. If you're in Algebra 2 currently, I would wait until spring to take these tests, so that way you have a little bit more time to learn a little bit more. So what does test optional mean? For the class of 2023, many of them have maintained test optional status. Many colleges have not said what they're doing for your admissions year. Things about being test optional. Colleges may be test optional for admissions, but not for scholarships. So it does matter. These scores do matter. Even if you choose not to submit them, it may matter to another college. So some colleges say, you know what, if you don't submit test scores, we can admit you based on that, but you're only eligible for up to X amount of dollars in college scholarships. Well, you don't want to close the door for free money. So it's important that you do your best on these tests and you take them. State-funded scholarships, as I mentioned, PAL Fellows, Life, and Hope are not test optional. So you have to have certain scores to get that free money. Some colleges allow you to submit scores later, while others do not. So some colleges say, okay, you know what, you want to be test optional because you're waiting on scores. Well, once you get those scores, if you want to submit them, go ahead. Some colleges say, if you choose, you're not going to submit them, we don't care. We don't care if you ended up scoring a 1400, we don't want to see it. So it just depends on the college. So do your due diligence and know what your college is looking for. The generic answer that I've gotten from colleges that is, if your score falls in the middle 50% of the accepted students for the previous year, then submit them. So it's important that you know those statistics. If you don't, ask the college. It is well within your right to email your admissions counselor at the college at which you hope to attend and ask these things, because that's what they're there to do. I don't have the answers to every college because I can't memorize all of that information. I would encourage you to Google. I would encourage you to look at their website, to talk to the admissions representatives when they're here on campus for lunch visits or for ed-ops. You need to kind of do your research and be ready and prepared to ask the questions you don't have answers to, but I won't necessarily have them either. I can help you find them, but I don't have a running list. promise. I, again, cannot submit your test scores for you to college admissions. You have to do that through College Board or ACT. So a lot of times you can choose to send it to up to 4 schools when you apply, but y'all are all waiting to see what the scores are before you submit them. So then you have to go back in and pay a fee to send them to the colleges. Most of them do not accept them from me. They want them officially from the school or from the College Board or the ACT. So when you create that account, make sure you write down your username and password so that way you're prepared to log back in and send those scores when necessary. As I learn more about admissions for the class of 2024, I will update you on test optional. I will put all that information in the Google Classroom because I do try not to hide anything from you. I want you all to be aware. I try to be as transparent as possible with college admissions, with scholarships, with whatever it is that you need to do. So just do check the classroom. Exam exemption policy. This changed so you can exempt exams as a junior. You can exempt up to 3 exams as long as all of your criteria are met. You have to have an A. Makes sense. You cannot miss more than 5 days during a semester. So that does not include things like medical, bereavement, college visits, field trips. It's any time that you're just out and we don't know why, or your mom just writes a note. So that's going to be a part of it. And then discipline. You can't have ISS or OSS in order to exempt exams. We have a process you will go through. Your teachers will be able to help guide you through that process. But the hope is that you come to school, you make good grades, and you stay out of trouble. That's the hope for everybody. So hopefully this kind of ignites a fire in some of y'all to keep those things all on top so that way you can exempt up to 3 exams. And your teacher will cover that. Your senior year, you're eligible to exempt all of your exams, again, based on these criteria as well. But we'll talk more about that your senior year. Y'all, attendance counts. You cannot miss more than 10 days in a year-long class and 5 days in a semester-long class. For exam exemption purposes, a student cannot miss more than 5 during a semester to be eligible for exam exemption. A student is considered absent if it is marked SCUNEX or SCEX. Again, medical, bereavement, college visits, field trips, none of that counts towards that. If you're sick and worried about missing too many days, you need to go to the doctor. You need to provide that medical note in a timely fashion. Don't miss a day and then 7 days later still not have the excuse in. That's more work for Ms. Hammett, and honestly, she doesn't have to accept the medical note after 3 days, so it's best for you to go ahead and get that information back. If you're sick and your parent calls or emails, that counts as an excused absence, but still goes towards the 10 total, so be aware of that. If you miss more than the allowable number of days in a class, you may be required to complete Saturday school in order to gain credit for the course. If you do not complete Saturday school, or if you've missed more days than Saturday school can help with, you will get an FA in the class, which is a failure due to attendance, and it follows you. And I can't fix it easily. So don't miss school. It's as simple as that. You are allowed 3 college visits during your junior and senior year. To be marked as a college visit, you must bring back something from the college stating that you attended. They are familiar with this. They won't look at you funny. They know what you're asking for, so ask for it. Again, if you have specific attendance questions about your students, email Ms. Hammett. If your student is in attendance trouble, she has talked to you, so it shouldn't be a surprise. Or she's tried to talk to you. So make sure that you're checking your emails and your phone calls and returning them if Ms. Hammett leaves you a message, because attendance does matter. It's crazy important. Okay. Flipping the subject completely, I want to talk a minute about student athletes. I have many of you who tell me that you're going to play collegiate sports. I do not coach anything. I do not judge your athletic ability. I will not tell you how to get recruited by a college coach. I can't do any of those things. I can tell you that I know NCAA, which is what you have to register for to play Division 1, 2, or 3 athletics. I have the link there for you to create an account. NCAA wants you to do your eligibility portal by the end of your junior year. So it's important that you go ahead and do that if you're looking at playing collegiate sports. Talk to your coach, ask them for assistance if you need it. I can tell you that if you are following the track to be 4-year college eligible, more than likely you will be NCAA eligible based on the courses required. I will help you, but I'm not going to do it for you. So if this is something you're interested in, there's NCAA. There's also something called NAIA, and that's for like junior colleges or smaller colleges. It's another portal that you can create an account for. I will send your transcript to these places. for free as many times as I need to, but I cannot submit your test scores to NCAA. You have to send those directly from the testing site. Again, I do not determine if you're athletically talented. If your student has taken courses for four-year college eligibility, it should also make them NCAA eligible. I cannot stress to you enough. If you are the most talented athlete in the world, but your grades are horrible, you will not get scholarships. If you want an athletic scholarship, the best way to do that is maintain high grades, but also commit time and energy to your sport. Colleges really love the athlete who is academically driven and athletically talented. So if you have the drive for both, make it shine, because your grades will follow you. Typically, once you recalculate your eligibility GPA for NCAA, it sometimes falls an entire point below where it currently is. So be aware of that. Maybe you didn't do well your freshman and sophomore year, but this is your warning. Get your grades up your junior year if you want to play sports or go to college, because it's all going to follow you. I cannot upload your final transcript to NCAA until after you graduate. There will be a handful of y'all that will email me incessantly telling me that I have not uploaded your final transcript, but you haven't graduated. Your transcript is not final until you graduate. So everything will get handled. I know I have deadlines. I know I have to get colleges and NCAA and all of this to these places, and I promise you that I will. I will upload your transcript to NCAA as soon as you apply. They send me an email. Feel free to tell me that you applied. I will gladly go in and check the portal immediately. But y'all give me time. I'm not going to leave you hanging. You are welcome to talk to me kindly and tell me that you are working on all of this, and I will definitely be on the lookout. But it's definitely a process. So sit down and look at it holistically and look at your grades and look at your eligibility based on that. It's just a facet of college admissions. It does not determine anything as far as getting into a college. It just determines your athletic eligibility. I did want to touch on social media, y'all. Many colleges have now created full-time positions where it is just their job to monitor high school student social media. As mentioned before, it can be a great asset for you as far as marketing, as far as, leadership. All those things are great. But know that your actions can also impact your college path. Before social media was even as huge as it is now, when there were fewer apps, I had a high school student on Facebook, believe it or not, who got into college, and then they immediately revoked their admissions decision because he posted something that the college deemed inappropriate on social media, but they have a person who just follows their admitted students. So they can take it back. So know that what you're posting may be funny, it may be something that just your friends will get, but the colleges see it. So if it's not something that you want your mom to see or your grandmother to see, don't post it, because colleges are looking, and I don't want you to close doors because something was funny for a minute. Because we're talking about your college goals, your after high school goals, workplaces are looking at it. All of it follows you. So just be very cognizant of what you post, who you follow, all of that stuff, because it does all stick with you. I just wanted to touch on that. I know parents probably do, but know that it's bigger than just your world. It impacts everything that's coming in your future. So, what to expect your senior year. I will do a senior year IGP, and some of y'all will walk in and say, why do we do this? We're not picking classes for next year. Well, to me, an IGP is bigger than picking classes. It gives me an opportunity to go over your credits to make sure you have all the credits that you need, but it also gives me the opportunity to talk about what is necessary for your senior year. I'll go over things like scholarships, senior supplies, college applications again, the senior project. We'll talk again about essay writing and letters of recommendation. So I'm hopeful that you'll take this slideshow presentation and start working. Start thinking about those things, looking at the websites, looking at the colleges, and kind of making your list of what you need to get done in order to be successful for your senior year and make it as smooth as possible, because it does fly by. Senior IGPs, for you to schedule your junior year IGP, the link was emailed out on 11/1. It's also included in the slideshow. It's also posted in the Google Classroom. It also was emailed out. It will be emailed out with this presentation. Time will be limited, so please come with a thoughtful preparation of questions, of classes, so we can kind of talk things through quickly, but we can also have time to talk about how all of what I've said relates to your student in the future. To schedule their junior year, really, IGP, there's the link right there provided. During your IGP, I will also give you information about Parchment. While you are a student at Fox Creek High School, Parchment should not charge you to send your transcript. I will use Parchment to send your transcript to colleges once you apply. I will give you your access code, which will then prompt you to create the account, and that is where after you fill out a college application, you will type in the college you want me to send it to, and it will go electronically from me to them, and you can watch it go. I don't want to snail mail transcripts. Colleges don't want me to snail mail transcripts. I need you to take advantage of Parchment. I have the information in my office ready to give to you during your IGP. You can also request self-views, so I can email you a copy of your transcript. There is nothing that I'm hiding from you. So this is how colleges get it effectively and efficiently, and you can watch it go from me to them. So there's none of that. Miss Ellis, they said they didn't get it. Yeah, they did. So at the end of your senior year, when you're graduating, we'll go over this again, but that's how you'll request your final transcript be sent to colleges. So, y'all, Parchment. If I say that word and you look at me like I'm cross-eyed when you're a senior, I will lose my mind. So make sure that you're aware of what's necessary for you to be successful your senior year. State-funded scholarships. Y'all will ask me this question and I will answer it every time. I cannot predict your class rank. State-funded scholarships are based on your final ranking at the end of your senior year. I don't know where you're going to be. I don't know who's going to transfer in or out of your class. I can't predict any of that. I can tell you to do the best that you can in the classes in which you are taking in order to make those opportunities available to yourself. This goes over the criteria. To be a Palmetto Fellow, which is the highest ranking scholarship, you have to be in the top 6% of your class at the end of your sophomore, junior, or senior year. I will know who was at the end of, or the top 6% of their class at the end of their sophomore year when we meet for your junior IGP. I will not know your junior year final ranking until after you complete your junior year. So we'll go over that during your senior IGP, and then also during your 12th grade year. If I find you are close, I'm going to submit your name for Pal Fellows if you're close to the top 6% of your class. But it's more than just the rank. You have to have a 1200 on the SAT or a 25 on the ACT. If the class rank criteria is not met, you can still be a Pal Fellow. It just ups the test scores. So then you have to have a 4.0 GPA on the weighted scale and a 1400 or 31. The weighted scale is the higher GPA on your transcript. Parents are probably more familiar with the 4.0 scale. That's where an A is an A, a B is a B. The weighted scale takes into account if your student took honors, AP, or dual enrollment. I call it the fluffy scale. It is what makes you eligible for state-funded scholarships, but it is not what maintains your eligibility for state-funded scholarships. We will go over that during your IGP. I will point out the difference between the two and kind of help guide you in how you need to be successful when you start earning those college credits. Remember, my dual enrollment students, if you are a junior in dual enrollment, you are starting your college GPA now. Do not slack off in those dual enrollment classes. Take them seriously and know that that grade follows you and it could negatively or positively impact your state scholarship eligibility. For the life scholarship, if you're attending a two-year institution, all you have to have is a 3.0 GPA on the weighted scale. However, to receive the life scholarship at a two-year college, it also is impacted based on the college classes in which they put you in, based on your AccuPlacer scores or whatever test they use to put you in classes. So it's important that you do your best, or that you take the SAT or ACT and exempt those AccuPlacer tests, so that way you just go directly into the higher level classes. That is going to be based on the two-year college you choose to attend. Talk to them about that. Talk to them. If you plan on attending a four-year institution, you have to meet two of the three: a 3.0 GPA on that weighted scale, an 1100 on the SAT, or a 22 on the ACT, or rank in the top 30% of your class. I can't predict your rank, guys. I can't. So it's important that you get those test scores. Nobody can take those away from you. It won't change. When you get the 1100, it won't drop. It's going to be an 1100. So get the test scores, and you don't have to worry about the rank as much because it still gets you eligible. Hope It's only available at a four-year institution. It is a one-time scholarship, and you have to have a 3.0 GPA. The saying is you hope for life. So if you start college with the Hope Scholarship, you hope to earn life by your second year of college. I have a handout on this. I'll give you during your IGP if you want, but this kind of breaks it down. These scholarships you do not apply for. They are based on your final transcript that is sent to the college you choose to attend. I will send your final transcript. I have to send the rank report. I send all of that. The financial aid office of the college you attend determines your final eligibility based on all of that information. So again, don't look for an application. There isn't one. Pal Fellows, you have a little bit of work to do, but I'll go over that with y'all during the IGP. You do not have to fill out an application. Your final transcript has to be sent to the college you choose to attend, and that's up to you to get that information covered through Parchment. I'll go over that your senior year, though. Right now, just know these are the scores that you have to have in order to earn the state-funded scholarships. Senior supplies, we'll talk about that again, but this kind of gives you an overview about what to expect. This year, I think the basic package was around $72. So parents, I know senior year is expensive between pictures and presents and parties and senior supplies and all the things that go into senior year. So I'm just trying to help you kind of budget for that. College applications, I don't know, again, when they're open or due. There are application fees. I will have application fee waivers during College App Day. That won't happen until September of your senior year. So know that you need to budget for that as well. There is one school in South Carolina that prefers you apply as a junior, and that is the Citadel. So if you are interested in the Citadel, you need to go ahead and look at their information and be ready to apply during your junior year. Fox Creek does have a senior project requirement. If you wish to participate in graduation, you have to complete the senior project. If you earn all of the credits required for graduation but do not complete the senior project, you will not be able to participate in graduation, but I will not keep your diploma from you. You will still earn your diploma. The credits determine the diploma. The project determines participation in graduation. If you don't have the credits but you did the project, I'm not giving you your diploma. So we'll go over all of that, but just know the senior project information will come out, and you just need to do it. It's not hard. It's fun, and it'll be posted in the Google Classroom as well as distributed during the fall of your senior year. So y'all, that was a lot, right? I'm at 52 minutes according to my timer. What do you need to do in preparation? First of all, breathe, because that was a lot of information, and I say it all the time, so it's very easy for me to say it, but sometimes it's harder to process through. So I'm excited that you have this opportunity to save these slides and go back and reference them if you need to. But in preparation for your senior year, start on an academic resume. They want to know what college honors and rewards you received, what activities you've been involved in. List the things out by grade so they can kind of see those things. And that way, when you ask for a letter of recommendation, you can share that with the teacher or the counselor or whomever you asked for them. Also include any work experience you have. It's all relevant. Think about your 3 letters of recommendation. Who will you ask to write them? Allow at least a week, honestly 2 weeks, guys, because it's busy. When you ask someone, provide that information so they can speak specifically about you. Give them a date that you need the letter by, and don't give them a limited amount of time, because I'm here to tell you, if you give me a day, my letter will reflect that. And I don't want that for you. Some colleges have online recommendations, so know that the recommender may have to upload a letter. But let them know that there's going to be an email coming, because things get kicked to our spam or we don't know to expect it. So sometimes we overlook things. Don't be too lazy to write the essay. Y'all always tell me that you can't write an essay or it's too hard, but it's not. College applications and scholarships, they will all require it. So don't put off what you know you're going to have to do. Again, this is the most relevant thing because we're about to choose them, but be thoughtful in your senior year course selection. Research what colleges you're interested in and what they want, and don't hesitate to email a schedule change prior to the start of school if your plans change. I know that it is November and I'm asking you to choose classes for next year, and you may not even know where you want to go, but I can fix things as long as you've done your due diligence. So make sure that you're doing that and making it a thoughtful process. Again, I said it earlier, junior year grades determine your admission, but your senior year grades can take it away. Or maybe take away the opportunity for state-funded scholarships because your GPA was right there on the cusp and then it dropped. So you don't want to lose opportunities because you took your senior year off, either by not taking hard classes or by overloading yourself or by just not caring. So that's kind of the end of everything that I have to cover. I feel like I didn't do as much with my military bound students. When you and I meet, we will talk about the ASVAB. Parents, know that if your student is a junior and plans on enlisting in the military, whatever branch, we are offering the ASVAB, which is the military entrance exam, here on campus on November 15th. They need to email me stating that they would like to be included in that testing opportunity, and I will gladly put their name on the list. Seating is limited, so it is first come, first serve. When we meet, guys, this was a lot of information. I don't expect you to come in and know all the answers and have everything mapped out, but I do want you to be thinking about it, because junior year is probably, arguably, the hardest year of high school, but it's a lot. It weighs heavily on what's coming. So I need you to do your best to stay focused, to stay involved, or to get involved, and to be thinking about what your next steps are. You have to take the wheel. Do not have your parent email me and call me 17 times a day. I don't want to talk to your parents. No offense. I will, but I prefer to talk to you. It's time for you to ask the questions that you may have and to have those thoughtful conversations with me or a teacher. If you want to have them with a parent there, I'm not telling you I will not include your parent. I'm just saying that at some point in time, it's okay for you to knock on my door or to send me an email, and we can talk about things as well. Your parents are a part of the process, but they are not the ones to be completing the process. So make sure you take ownership. So if we break down the timeline, the next thing I really need you to do is be thinking about your senior year classes. So that'll be our next step. I need you to look at the SAT and ACT dates and see which one is better for you as far as scheduling, but go ahead and get those tests done so we can see where your scores are. But do take it one step at a time. There is on the guidance website a survival guide. It's a little older. I'm updating it as we speak, but there is information in there as far as steps of things to complete. And then when we meet to choose your senior year classes, know that it's not the last time. When you start your senior year, I will meet with you again to go over things one more time. And it might mean something differently than it does right now. I appreciate you listening to this. I know it has been lengthy and it's a lot of information. I'm hopeful that if you have questions, you will come with them to your IGPs. And if you haven't scheduled your IGP, please do use the links provided in order to do that. But y'all have been pretty good about scheduling them, and I appreciate that. If you have questions or concerns, or if you feel like I did not cover something adequately, please do reach out to me. I'm here, I'm available, and I'm glad to help. Again, I thank you for your patience and your cooperation as I moved this to a virtual presentation. I'm hopeful that you will find that beneficial for both you and your student. But most importantly, I just appreciate your time and your support as we all work to get your student to what is the goal for every single one of them, and that is graduation. You will hear me say in every IGP, I do not tell you you have to go to college. That is a conversation for you to have with your parents. However, my end goal is for all of you to graduate and to be self-sufficient human beings. I do not want you to have the goal of living on your parents' couch forever, and I don't believe they do either. So we will work together to get you the most money for college if that is what you choose. We will work together to help you with job placement if that is what you choose, or military. We have opportunities and we have options, but I cannot make it something you do. You have to choose to do it. So again, thank you. I hope you have a wonderful evening if you are watching this on the night of the original presentation, and I appreciate your continued support. Thank you so much.